one looks at how to use data to improve your campaigns, it is obviously important that when you use this data, you use it effectively, as well as you use the data focusing on how to identify improvements, also key metrics and performance that will help you to improve your campaigns. So obviously the core of the data-driven improvements is basically understanding what your data is telling you, because having data there without knowing exactly what it's telling you and what to do with it, it could be another frustration. So let's look at an example of Facebook ad. Let's say you run 2 Facebook ads variations. You're targeting different demographics. One in in Gauteng. Let's call that ad A. So you're targeting people that are between 18 and 24 years old. You receive 1,000 impressions and 50 clicks. All right, that's ad A. So what is ad B? You're targeting people that are a bit older than that, 25 to 34 years old, and you receive 800 impressions and 16 clicks. So now we are now going to have a few minutes here to answer the questions that I have here. So when you think of your answers, please raise your hand. Let me know what you think. You could also chat in the box here. So if we have to ask a question, what is the percentage CTR? So let me put this so what metrics being utilized here? We raise your hand and let us know which metrics being utilized in this 2 ads campaign. Which metric? Do you think it's CTR, click-through rates? Is it a conversion rate? What is being used here? So between these 2 ads, A and B. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it not multiple things? Because it could be cost per impressions, and then it could also be click-through rate.
Yeah, so yeah, the comment as well said CTR. The answer is yes, it's a click-through rate because this measures the percentage of people who click on your ad after seeing it. So basically it means a low CTR might suggest your ad creative isn't resonating with people. They're not, so we use the word feeling it. It might need to be changed. So if one looks at percentage CTR, each ad showing, for instance, in the case of ad A, which one would you say it's performing better, ad A or ad B, if you are using CTR? So Frank said A, yes, because A has the high page impression. If you're using metrics, so using the metrics for campaign insights, another example here, it's Google Ads campaign. Let's say you receive 500 clicks of your ads, leading to 50 app installation and downloads. What metrics would you use here? What will the metrics being used here?
This is conversion.
Yeah, this is a conversion rate. This means the percentage of users who completed desired actions such as download your app after clicking your app. So that's important. Let's look at another example here. So spending on your Instagram campaign. So let's say you spend 10,000 Rand on Instagram campaign. The result is 200 app installation. What metric would you use to determine the price of these installations? CPI, cost per installation. And how much will that be if you've got 200 downloads from 10,000? What will be the cost? Anyone who's good in maths? You've got 10,000 Rand. Go ahead.
Sorry,
said-
I was guesstimating 50 rands per install.
Yeah, it is 50 Rand per installation. And then if you're making 40 Rand from each of the users, if you look at the revenue average, so it means you've got a problem, right? You need to bring down your cost per installation to be able to stay viable and survive as a business. Let's look at example 4. This is about you acquire 1,000 users a month, all right? After 1 week, 500 are still actively using the app, and after 1 month, only 200 are still using the app. What metrics would you provide data on your user rates? What metrics would you provide data on your user rates?
Retention.
Yeah, retention. So in this case, it means you lose at the end within just 2 months. Within a week, a month and a week, you lose over 800 users. That is a lot. Muzi?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, is it safe to say that retention and churn are direct opposites of each other, or are they slightly different things?
Yeah,
Besides
that's a good question. Anyone who wants to share their experiences? Go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Anyone who agree or disagree? Yeah, they're quite of the opposite. So retention is the people that you keep in your business for a very long time. A lot of people always ask, for how long does the retention come to an end? If you keep someone for a year or 2 years or 3 years, my answer is always that as long as you keep that user engaging with your app, that's where retention still active. If you lose them even after a year, you've got retention issues. Because the whole idea of acquiring a customer, especially an app user, is for them to be there for a very long time, right? So let's look at this activity, which is the founders connection. Let's apply these metrics that we have just used as an example. So let's say, imagine you're managing this marketing campaign for a Founders Connect. So what is a Founders Connect? It is an app designed to connect tech and commercial entrepreneurs in South Africa, especially in the metropolitan areas. So you've run different campaign across 4 different platforms for 2 months, all right? Your task is to analyze the data and look at identifying the trends, especially in the user behaviors and campaign effectiveness. So now, if you have to calculate these, so let's go to step 1. So you need to calculate the following metrics for each platform each month. So you've got click-through rate. How to do this activity? So you need to look at, you've got click-through rate with click impression of 100. You've got the conversion rate of 100. What will be the cost per installation there? Sure, this is going to need some calculations here. Any idea?
I think we need the clicks and the impressions to calculate that, because multiply 100 is just to calculate the percent.
Yeah. And what would be the cost per installation in this case? So maybe, so what was the span? That's the question. Let me analyze this questions. So analyze the question and answer the following. So analyze the data and answer the following questions. Let's go there. Which platform had the highest CTR in each month, and what might explain this? So which platform had the highest CTR? I think there are some pages missing on this slide. Just give me a sec. Yeah, there is something missing here. Just give me a sec. Okay, I think we'll skip the this section. Let's go to this activity was, there are pages missing on my side. Let me have a look here. Sorry, just give me a sec. Let me check what's. All right, I think let's skip the 2 pages and come to the consolidating and the visual data aspect of things. Yeah, I want to introduce you guys. So the activities, I think from my side, there's some pages that I don't have. So let's look at this activity, this part of the session in terms of introducing you to how to analyze data across different channels. So what you're seeing on the screen is showing you different channels. You can see there's LinkedIn and many other channels. So analyzing data is in isolation for each channel only gives you a picture that is not really complete. So when you analyze all these data, try to make sure that if you're using different channels, you collect all these channels data and collect and look at them in a holistic approach. Basically, what is happening within the Instagram is as important as happening within the emails, and what is happening within the emails is as important as happening in all other channels. So you should not look at one channel in isolation in terms of the data. And then what is also important from there is to consolidate this data. So you must, what happened here is that you must collect all the data across all the platforms that you have ran your campaigns, and then you must centralize all this data. And this is where all the other tools that we talk about, Google Analytics, comes into play, because all of that it does help you to collect all these data, build into your metrics across all these different channels. To be able to make the right decision is to look at every single data that make decision, so that is relevant to your app. So let's look at how to identify metrics to be able to compare. Yes, Muzi?
Yeah, I just want to ask, would a cross-channel report be required if we're running ads within Google, but within the Google platforms? As in, some ads are running on YouTube, some ads are running on Google Search, some ads are running on the Play Store. Is that, can I get all of that info in one place, or would I still need to pull it and create some sort of, how can I put it, unique cross-channel reports?
So Google Analytics and all other tools gives you all the data across all your campaign channels in one place. But I would like to, yeah, so that's a good question. I would like to hear your comments from the team who has experienced the question that Muzi just shared. Have you ever experienced any situation where some of the reports were not available when you're using Google Analytics? So the reason why Google Analytics is recommended and other tools is because all your data sits in one place. Remember, we talk about the alerts, setting up the alerts and customizing your dashboard. All of that is included in that process. So it's important that you know which data you want, where does it come from, and how you're going to use it. So yeah, you can have all your data in one place. let's look at identifying metrics for comparison. Why this is important is because if you find these common metrics across different comparisons, it does help you with understanding the reach. How many people are seeing your message on each channel? Then you combine the total of that without having to look at only one channel. So it also helps you to understand the engagement. Could be clicks or likes or shares or comments on different social media channels, platforms. That is important because it gives you a holistic picture of the engagement, websites, traffic, how much of traffic is each channel driving the users to your website is very, very important. So having all that data sitting on one place make it easier for you to make the decision. And that's what Google Analytics, Firebase as well, does have that data. Conversion, it does help you to understand how many desired actions are resulting from each channels. So this could be app installation, could be purchases, which CTAs performs better in different channels, because that data is so important to understand, because it doesn't mean having all these similar CTAs across all the channels does yield the same results as well. You also look at the issue of cost per acquisition, cost per installation. How much are you spending to acquire a customer or an app on each channel? It's important. So for instance, if you get a user on Facebook at 50 Rand per user, and you can get a quality, high value conversion from Instagram at half of that, so you're able to make a decision and say, well, Facebook is not really for me because I spend more money and I don't get much, then I will use Instagram. So this is what we're talking about when we say data-driven decisions. It does help you with cost, with returning on ad spend, because now you can almost compare revenue of a user that comes through Facebook or a user that comes through other channels, to see, as much as you're getting more users from Facebook, are they really spending to be able to justify your return on investment, which is return on your spend. So you then be able to see and make actions or plans to decide whether which of these channels make a lot of sense for you to achieve your marketing objectives. So return on ad spend, it's very important. That data, it's important because you have limited resources. So let's look at compare performance channels. I just mentioned that now. For example, you notice that Facebook is driving large volume of web traffic, but the conversion rate from website visitors to app is much lower compared to traffic that comes from Google Ads. So basically, this suggests that while Facebook is effective on generating awareness, Google Ads is better at driving qualified leads who actually end up downloading your apps, provided that your marketing objectives is downloads or conversion or installation, getting more users to download your app. But if your objective is awareness, then Facebook take the lead. Does that make sense what I'm saying, all right? Any questions around that before I move on? So comparing performance channels, how you do it, it will be data-driven decision. You can't compare without seeing what each channel is performing, and that comes through data. Google Analytics give you access to that information across the platforms. So obviously, to be able to analyze this data is important because it helps you to understand or refine your strategy. So by obviously looking at these different channels and their performances, and the metrics that you've got, which is very specific, whether you want downloads, you can actually identify which one performs better. And you can also tweak your tactics around these different channels. Well, let me give you an example. You find that the video ad on Instagram, all right, generates more higher engaging rates, like things such as like, comments, shares, compared to static image ad on some platform, all right? So it's an image ad that is sitting somewhere in different platform. So this probably could suggest that the video content resonates better with your target audience on Instagram, or and then you could prioritize creating more videos, content for that channel. So Instagram, for instance, people is probably more likely to watch. Where do people think watch the reels or short videos more often? Do you think it's on Instagram? Do you think it's on Facebook? Do you think it's on TikTok? I will say TikTok, just by the nature of how TikTok was designed. It was short video sharing platform, whereas Facebook and Instagram have other things that they do, which is not really much about videos, photos, and news feed and other things as well. So TikTok, even though I haven't been there, it does look like it's if you have a video playing there, you're more likely going to have more engagements if your target users are there. You can also obviously use the data that you collected to improve your to identify areas that requires improvement. It could be about cross-channel analysis, where you kind of sort of reveals areas where certain channels kind of perform better in certain areas of the channel. For instance, you could notice that your LinkedIn campaigns have a low click-through rate compared to other channels. This might indicate that probably your ad copy or your targeting on LinkedIn needs improvement. You could experience different messaging, target more specific group within LinkedIn. You could also do A/B testing as well, because remember, everything that sits here goes with A/B testing. Why data-driven decisions are important is because they help you also analyze the behavior of users across the channels. You could say, well, users in Facebook, they tend to stay longer on my app. They tend to visit my app every day compared to users from LinkedIn, as an example. Why? Because probably they don't have time. They're busy working. They've got serious jobs or work full time. Whereas on TikTok, probably your target audience is a little bit much younger. After attending classes, they've got all the time to engage with your app, etc. Another way to look at it is that if you apply data visualization in understanding this data, it makes things easier, because you will be using graphs. Looking at the graph, these are probably more excellent for direct comparison, where another graph is there, another graph is there. You can compare different user segmentations, how they perform across different channels. You can actually do so much with this data. So in Google Analytics, for instance, they provide more sophisticated visualization tools, specifically tailored for your website and app data. Remember, you can still customize it. You can still run the alerts to be able to track all the things that are happening. You can set these alerts as well. That helps you to manage a lot of this information that is coming in. So that's an example there of a line graph. If you look at it, shows you where things are going up and down, but there's growth there. It's just not a stable growth. You're able to understand all these things without really have to dive into specific data with a lot of variables. Then you can just read these charts. So pie charts, that's an example of how pie chart could help you understand, make decision. If red is about a channel and yellow it's another channel, and red means the channel is not performing, etc. You could work with this to make it easier for you to make quick decision without having to read data, add a calculator, and or do all that kind of stuff. Another way in which data can be used is scatter plots. This actually it's easier because you can just see the performance of a channel over time. These graphs actually are designed to reveal potential relationships across different channels as well. So you can work with a lot of variables there as well, which is important. Whereas the data tables is easier. We use a lot of this Google Doc. You can make a lot of these tables as well, but Google Analytics does give you this kind of data presented in this form as well. It does help a lot, especially if you're looking at a customization option that allows you to display specific metrics and dimensions. You can look at heat maps as well, that fits in there. Tables are actually the easiest way to compare things. Yeah, so you could also use map within Google Analytics, where you could see where individual sits within the maps, channels performance within the maps themselves. You know, people in Soweto more likely are engaging with your product through Facebook, but people in Cape Town more likely engage with your product through Instagram. So that helps you to be able to understand data and make the right decision when you refine your campaigns. So let's engage in this discussion by me asking you two questions. What visualization style would you use to compare installation versus against the cost across campaign channels? Which one do you think will make a lot of sense for you? And yeah, I'm happy to hear your answers. If you look at all these different visualizations I shared, your bar chart, your table, which one do you think makes sense for you to be able to compare the installations versus the cost across campaign channels? So let's say you've got 5 channels, you've got cost, installation. Yes, Muzi?
Yeah, so in such a situation, I'll probably go for a bar chart, like a vertical bar chart, where each pair is a channel with the cost and the installation. So I can just visualize it like that.
That's correct. Yeah, you could use a bar chart, you know, to be able to. It would be ideal in this case, as it allows you to compare the numbers of installations versus cost by side against each channel. So you've got all of that nicely comparing against each other. So let's look at the next question. What visualization style would you use to showcase the age breakdown of your users? The age breakdown of your users. Let's say you've got 100 users. How do you work out that age breakdown? The visualization you will use? Absolutely. Lisa said pie charts. Yes, because it demonstrates the breakdown of age demographics of your users. Pie chart becomes easier. So again, this is just an example of saying, if you're not a person that wants to read specific data, you could really rely on this visualization to make a quick decisions without having to really dive into all the details by simply just looking at pie chart or you know, graphs or a table. So now let's move to the next part of this session. It's all about design and executing an effective A/B testing for an app campaign. Again, this is all about testing. So you should not deploy any campaign without running different tests. And I think yesterday we also talked about how to run a test on even some of these assets to see how they perform, be it an icon, be it a title, be it a description, long description, short description, even keywords. You could run A/B testing because keywords as well, you could compare what other competitors are doing. So A/B testing cut across everything. Basically, the short answer is you can't do something without A/B testing. Even when you have enough data that is reliable and you are confident with that data, you still need to run A/B testing. Obviously, to run A/B testing, you need to have define clear objectives and KPIs, because if you test something on a wrong objectives and KPIs, you know, they say in maths, garbage in, garbage out. So that's what it is. So you must define your objectives. Why? If your objectives, for instance, is to increase app downloads, you know, improve app purchase rates, increase user retention, increase click-through rate, which is CTR, you must define all of that, and then you can build an entire A/B testing around. So basically, what we're saying here is that your A/B testing must be done on a completed and ready to go campaign. So a lot of people, what they do, they will not have a completed, ready to go campaign, but they just said, oh, let's test the water with this half done campaign. So when you do that, you're going to get half done data. And even if you apply it in real full scale, you're not going to actually have more impact because you are actually based your funnel decision on something that was half done. So complete your entire campaign to a point where you feel that if it wasn't about an A/B test, you will be deploying this campaign. So let's look at how to formulate specific hypotheses, because that is so important. Because why is because if you set a very strong hypothesis to be able to define your entire specific objective as well as key performance indicators, is because if a hypothesis is because it's hypothesis is the tested testable statement. So even in research at university, you have to come with a hypothesis, go collect data to be able to test it. So it's important that that if you one looks at the two hypotheses as an example, one, it says that changing the ad creative will improve performance. So what would you say? Do you think that's specific? Whereas the other, which is hypothesis B, says changing the main image in our Facebook ad from a product shot to a lifestyle image featuring a local South African user will increase an app installation by 10% within 2 weeks. Which one do you think it's more specific? Which one do you think it's not specific? Let's go back to the SMART framework to be able to answer the truth.
Definitely B is more specific.
Yeah. B, it's very specific, and you can apply SMART framework there. There is a specific intention there, which is very clear. It's about increasing 10%. There are probably 3 or 4 different specific part of these hypotheses that you could look at. Measurable, so many other parts as well, more than one area in which these can be measurable. Relevant, these also time bound, 2 weeks. So it's important when you set up your hypothesis to test your A/B testing, you actually are very, very clear in terms of what you want to achieve. So let's look at how to identify variables. What variables would you test? For instance, you will test more of common variables for the app campaigns, things that work well together, whether in different channels, whether in different ad creatives. So all those common variables are important because it therefore means then there's something that you've got right there. So it could be a photo or a video that works very well. Then that's important to look at that. It could be ad copy. It could be call to action. It could be targeting. It could be ad placement. Remember, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, we talked about creating templates in which you use for consistency when you actually do either your listing or you do your campaigns. All of that feeds into this as well, is that you have to always have to build a consistency in the manner in which you apply this data, especially if you're looking at different variables. Common variables is the way to start, where you look at things that work when they're together. So let's look at creating variables. So you've got a control A and control B. So usually here what happens is control A is going to be the original version. You're using this as a baseline to be able to compare the rest. So if you're going to have variable A, B, C, it's up to you. But try to work with variables that you could manage in terms of workload, right? Let's say you work with variable A and B as it is there on the photo on your screen. The control A is actually the original version. This is where you really put everything together, truly believing that it does really speak to exactly what your objectives are. Exactly, you've studied different channels and you understand exactly how this campaign is going to run. Then you do another copy, and let's say you mark it variation B. This is where you actually, this is more of a version that includes single specific change you want to test. You could say, well, in terms of control A, the original, I think the photo must not be red, the main photo. It must be yellow. And there must be a CTA button that is red at the bottom. So you're really so specific what you want to actually test. That is not contained within the controlled A. So this is how you actually do A/B testing to be able to compare an apple with an apple. So let's look at or discuss how to determine sample size and the length of the test. Again, A/B testing could sound more as a difficult thing to do, and a lot of people, especially at a startup level, they will just set up a group of friends on WhatsApp and they drop a message. No, A/B testing must be entirely be neutral. It must be a very good sample size based on your desired confidence level and expected improvement. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. If you're going to do A/B testing based on things that are not proper, it's not going to be useful. So always avoid actually doing all this testing within the group of people or that you know have an influence on them, because they're going to give you clap hands even when things are not really that good, just for the sake of keeping a friendship or a harmony. So let's look at how to run the test. All right, you've got now A, B, A. So you've got control A and variable B. Test setup. You set up those tests. Let's say you choose to use advertising platform such as Facebook ads. Use Google Ads experiment to run the test. So you must ensure the traffic is split evenly between the variations. So yeah, it's important. You might be lacking variation or control A, not like variation B. But if you have to work with a sample, make sure that at least you've got similar size in terms of the people that you're going to run this test. Also make sure that you apply the same process so that there's no intervening events that actually skew your results. And you end up with the data that actually could have been different should you actually create a unified, protected environment in the process. So how to structure your A/B tests? So there's many ways in which you could do this. Obviously, the main aim is to get the valid results. You need to obviously design, you must have a well-designed setup. And you must choose the right sample, as I said. Because without enough data, you almost can't differentiate things. You can't even understand which one works better against all these variations that you have. So let's say, for instance, consider flipping a coin. If you flip it 10 times, getting 6 heads and 4 tails might seem significant. Well, then do it. However, if you're flipping it 1,000 times, it's far more likely to provide results closer to expected 50-50 ratio. This same principle applies to A/B testing. Larger sample sizes provide more reliable results. It also really gives you a really concrete understanding of some of your features as well, or any elements that you are A/B testing. So to be able to get the sample size right, you can use online A/B testing calculators. Here you must define, or you must take into consideration your baseline conversion rate. You must look at your minimum detectable effect. You must look at your statistically significance. That's your confidence level. So commonly you can set it up to 95%. To this confidence level, ensure you can reasonable setting that that observed differences are not due to chances. So you set it very high, but if you set it very low, it could be probably the people that you run this A/B testing on, they just happen to have a bad day. So you're more likely going to start collecting data that truly doesn't really have much to do with your two variations that you're testing. Is there any question there before I proceed? Have you guys done any A/B testing before for your app business? Any A/B testing have you done? So a few years ago, I did design a program called IVC, which is Ideation, Validate, and Create for Allan Gray. And this basically speaks to exactly the same thing. It's the ability to validate everything that you have. So A/B testing is all about that. It's a cycle where you ideate, validate, and create. So I will encourage you guys to do a lot of A/B testing. You can, in fact, also do A/B testing on your features on your app. You could do A/B testing of the value proposition of your app. So you actually go to the markets with that level of confidence. So if you could set up the confidence level to 95%, that would be amazing. And always when you test, don't test one thing, because in any way, test 2 or 3 things, because now you can compare an apple with an apple. So I will encourage you guys to look at that. So let's look at how to set up a controlled and variant groups here. So control group is on the left, whereas variant group is on the right. So where is the difference here is that the control group is the current version used as a baseline to compare. So you then put the current version there, which is the control group. Could include new changes. You're testing like different design and features. Whereas a variant group, you then have to get accurate results. So variant group, you could do the same with a variant group as well. Yeah, sorry. Control group, you test the baseline, the current version of what you're doing. All right. If you have anything, if you've got a copy, you've got a campaign assets, you test them there. Then you then do what we call it variation B, variant B.
Keep the walkways
variant
clear.
B, it's this, you will test that here. That's where you change a few things. You could change the picture, the design, the colors. That you then throw it within the variant group
Keep the
as
walkways
part of
clear.
A/B test. Let me give you an example. So if you're testing a new ad image, half the audience sees the original, that's control, right? And the other half sees the different new image, that's variable B. So you split them 50-50. This way, any difference in performance can attribute to the change, not the other factors. Because you want to eliminate or not have any other factors that has nothing to do with your product influencing the test results. Let's look at how to use reliable testing methods. So please run the test all the time at the same time. Do not run one today and run one later. It is important to run them at the same time. Another reliable testing method, isolate the variables. So what does this mean? It means that you have to change only one thing at a time. So here's the thing. If your variant B, you've made 4 or 5 different changes on it against the control, the baseline control. You're going to have issues there because you will never know which one of those changes you've made influence positively or negatively the A/B testing results. Because it could be probably a video that they didn't like, but they liked the rest of other things. So that's why I try to not to make too many changes from the current version to run on the variables. Obviously, you need to do the test for sufficient duration. Give it some time. Obviously, you know your business. If it takes a week to do that A/B testing, let it be. So enough time is important. And even if you get the result, you can start seeing the results and you don't like the results, do not stop that test. Let it complete. So avoid, basically here you must avoid stopping the test too early, because even if it's not negative, it's positive. You get too excited and said, I got the results that I've been looking for, and then you stop the test. Let it complete all the way to the end. So obviously, it's important that you check your stats significance as well. So because if you are this is about cleaning your data. If you really you feel that certain group was probably compromised, or probably it was too random, it's important to just run another test. Because remember, you're going to make decisions to spend money on that data. So obviously avoid being biased. This happens a lot as entrepreneurs. My idea is my idea. No one can change it. Yeah, A/B testing could change it. But I also want to say to the entrepreneurs as well that, obviously A/B testing is important, but you also know your business very well. There are many other data that you've collected. So you can also bounce A/B testing results with all other data. So if you feel like, whoa, yeah, I think the test is not exactly what my product is all about. I'm selling oranges, I'm not selling mangoes, all right? So yeah, so we also need to protect your ideas as well, because you don't want too many changes on your ideas and you don't know what you're selling anymore. Let's look at this activity. It's called AutoFind. It's a car trade and shopping app operating in South Africa. So you want to improve the app onboarding process to increase user engagement, because people are just falling off when it comes to registering, So why are you doing that is because you want to be a more successful car dealer by actually have more purchases and sales within the app. So let's look at this. Here's the problem. You think the current onboarding screen, which only focuses on account creation, is causing some of the users to drop off. And then your objective is to get more users to complete the onboarding process. The data sets, it's on the screen. Can you see that? You've got, is that 10,000 users started the onboarding process, all right? And 2,000 completed it. That's 20% conversion rate. 8,000 didn't complete it. So you want to run a test, and the hypothesis is adding a short video about AutoFinder's key features will increase completion by at least 5%. So you believe that probably by putting, changing or adding a video in your campaigns could help the AutoFinders you put a video citing or showing the key features of AutoFinder. You believe that that will help increase the 5%. So the question here is, what will be your A/B testing? I will give you 2 minutes. How would you approach your A/B testing in this regard? You've got 10,000 users. They all started onboarding. Only 20% of that completed it. So in other words, they engaged with the onboarding process, but they couldn't complete it. So basically what it means is that they sign up and they have to complete probably KYC, and they couldn't. Probably someone fall off at a ID section, or someone fall at create a password, and it keeps on asking for combination that the person can't get. And then they said, oh, I'm done with this, I'm moving on. So you want to improve that onboarding process to increase conversion. Yes, go ahead. What will be your approach here?
Would this maybe require like a deep link so that you send half of your users to the part of the app that first plays the video and then half to the other, and see if the completion rate is higher on either one?
Yeah, that could work. That could work as well. So you actually add a short video and change the entire onboarding process based on the short videos, run the test and see what the reaction will be. It does make a lot of sense to do that way as well. Because if you've got 10,000 users that are coming to your app, they're all engaging with it, they basically download the app. They're just not completing the onboarding process. So if I was in this process, in this situation, I would look at, I will probably start running a survey, feedback loop before doing anything. And from the feedback loop, I will then probably decide whether the short video is the right way to go, because it could not be about the key features at all. It could be about people are getting annoyed with creating a password and it keeps on kicking them out. And I've seen it many times where certain app asks for certain combination of a password, and I keep on combining that password and it keeps on rejecting me all the time. And then I just walk away. So even if I put a video, even if I put a video with just a video about the key features, it's not going to help me because I'm probably will be shooting in the dark there. So let's see the comments here. Coach Iso said, my hypothesis says 5% actually was massively exceeded expectation. Variation B in all users. Okay. So you'll do variation with the video. We do variation A as a control. All right. I will do. This one is a tough one because you don't know exactly why this these users are not completing onboarding process. I think the hypothesis is incorrect because even if you, this is my point, even if you do another variation with a video showing key features of the app, what if, as I said, what if the issue is the password combination that's making people fall off? But again, this discussion talks about the importance of knowing where data sits to be able to make the right decision. Even when data is presented in front of you, you still have to really ask more questions about it. And that's part of A/B testing. So in this case, probably one would say, maybe what I will do is run the controlling version, then I run different versions, but at a different time. So I will have not different times, because if I do different times, then that would be wrong. So probably I'll run 4 or 5 different versions. Again, it will be a waste of time, because if you don't know what exactly is the root of the problem, remember, you have to go to the root of the problem, why people are on board, are not completing the onboarding. So once you establish that, then you can do a hypothesis on that data and be more specific. Because here, if you just go with a video, I mean, who said that the features are the reason why they're falling off? So that's just probably another discussion to have. All right, that's the auto found. Let's. I think there is a percentage that shared in the chat group by Chudley. So let me have a look. So you said hypothesis says 5%, actually was 80%, massively exceeded expectation. Ship variation B to all users. That's another approach. But I will still say we go into the root of the cost, rather than just running all this variation and hope to find the answer. So let's get to the last part of this session, which is your how to apply your A/B testing results. So now you've run the A/B testing results. You've got all these results. You can see which one performs better, which one doesn't. How to apply these is important, because it's another challenge on its own. Let's look at Vibes SA. Vibe SA, in terms of the scenario here, is that you're running a several A/B tests on different aspects of your marketing campaigns. All right. Your task is to analyze the results and decide on the best course of action and plan for the future optimizations. So here it's the Vibe SA. It's a popular event and restaurants and club finder and review platforms operating in South African major cities. So this platform helps users discover and rate local hotspots, from trendy Cape Town eateries to vibrant Johannesburg nightclubs. So the scenario here is that you have run multiple A/B tests on your marketing campaigns. Now analyze the results, choose the best action, and plan for the future improvement. So let's look at this, the activity. Yeah, so go ahead, Trisha. Go ahead. Your hand is up.
Oh, sorry, Mashu. I was asking regarding the data from these activities. Should we keep looking at the activities from our workbook? because for this one, for Vibes SA, I can see that the data is listed there in the activity group. Even the previous activity we just did, the data was also from 124, and then the one that we skipped, the activity that we skipped was also from the workbook.
Yeah. I think the data for Vibes SA is in the workbook. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make.
Which page is on your workbook?
It's on 125 for
Yeah.
Vibes SA.
Thanks. Yeah. If you could look at 125, page 125, Vibe SA, you've got the stats there. So you've ran the multiple A/B test on your marketing campaigns. Now analyze the results, which is on your in your books. Choose the best action and plan for the future improvements. I'm happy to give you guys 2-3 minutes to have a look at that, and I'm happy for us to discuss those answers. All right. What will be your take on this activity? So there is a comment here. The B variant has a better conversion rate. Future optimization is to use a strong creative. That's a good take. Thank you, Frank. Any other comments? So Frank says that B variant has a better conversion rate. Professor says B is the winner. A 2% CTR, 5% CVR. B, it also has 3% CTR, 8. Yeah, so it also has 8% CVR. Yeah, B seems to be a strong variant to apply. Yeah, so this really speaks about the importance of using data to, Madoda says B as well, to make these decisions. Because as much as you can do the A/B testing, what you do with that data is what this last part of the session is talking about. So now let's focus on how changes to ad creatives affect user engagement. So optimizing creatives is key because the first thing potential users see, it's the creative, right? So a strong creative can boost click-through rate and drive more traffic to your platforms. So again, let's do this activity there, and I will ask you questions around it. Is which variation performs better in terms of CTR by what percentage? Also, we already answered these questions around Vibes essay. So the other question was which variation performed better in terms of conversion rate? And the third question was based on the data, which ad creative should Vibe essay use for this target audience? So that's probably let's look at that suggestion. So the suggestion looks like, if I look here, is that Vibes should use variation B, you all agree, as a resulted in significantly higher CTR and conversion rate. So that's really important. So the fourth question is, what other elements of the ad creative could Vibe essay test in the future test? So one could say that testing different sort of probably images and videos of specific events, or a restaurant's type, testing, different ad copies, probably focusing on a unique value proposition. They could look at exclusive deals, user reviews. They could also do different ad formats in their testing. Video and static images could work as well. I mean, look at the type of the app, the way it is. That actually, in my opinion, any A/B testing must include video or static images, because this is a vibe. It's all about seeing more things than reading in terms of the type of the business they're running, especially the app. Yeah, it's all about going out. So you want to see more photos of everything. Let's look at another activity around targeting and bidding strategies here. I'm not sure what pages this will be on your side, but let's now look at how targeting and bidding strategies impact campaign performance. All right, so they say that a good targeting ensure your ads reaches the right people, and obviously make sure that you get the right return on spending. So I want you to take you through these questions based on this exercise. Is that which variation, after reading the stuff in your books, which variation had a lower cost per conversion? By how much? Tell us how variation B had fewer clicks in terms of, the question. Although variation B had few clicks, it led more conversions. What does this suggest about the quality of traffic from each variation? So as you know, so it's on the page 127. Which targeting and bidding strategy should Vibe essay use for this campaign? What other targeting option could Vibe's essay consider for this campaign? So there are 4 questions to answer. I'll give you 2 minutes and let's hear your answers. All right. We've got an answer from Tliso said that, let me have a look. Tliso said that variation B seems to be the best option to go with, which is important. So which is very, very important. Any other questions? I mean, answers, sorry. Any other answers? So if one looks at suggested answers, yeah. So variation B had a lower cost per conversion, right, which is 80 Rand 50 cents versus 100 Rand. And it has a 12.5 savings. Whereas variation B drove more qualified traffic as a higher percentage of click results and conversion, despite that it has a fewer clicks. So this again, it's important to understand that having more higher percentage of clicks resulting in conversion, it's important if obviously your strategic goal objectives is to get more users. It also says here Vibes SA should adopt variation B. Again, you're correct. Targeting and bidding strategy as it generates more conversion at a lower cost, indicating more efficient use of ad spend, which is cash, right? Return on investment there. So the last one is that testing targeting based on user behavior within the app, like frequent search for specific cuisine type, testing geographic targeting within Cape Town, etc., or targeting marketing campaigns to users who have previously visited the Vibe SA could be one of those testing targeting strategy for Vibes SA to adopt. Let me have a look at the comments here. Yeah, only Tliso has commented. So this is really about analyzing data, specific targeting, yes. It's about really how do you get your data collected, and how do you use that data to make the right decision. And in this case, we're focusing on A/B testing that you have to perform. So this brings us to an end of this session. What we have covered today, it's about the use of data to improve your campaigns. So run A/B testing. You don't have to do a real campaign and spend money on it when you could simply do A/B testing. So that's really the beginning of this conversation this afternoon. Second part of this conversation is that you need to design and use effective A/B testing for app campaigns. So remember, you have to have a controlled version as well as variant version. So that is so important. Make sure that you don't run this A/B testing with friends and families, because they will always be biased. So make sure that the A/B testing run is timed. Even if you're getting the results that you like, do not stop that A/B testing until it's completed. Always make sure that you've got groups that are at least within your user personas. That is the key, because if your app it's targeting university students, and you go and do your A/B testing to retirement home, you are going to have a skewed data to work with, and as I said, if you collect the wrong data, your decisions will be wrong as well. You might even change some of your app features using data that is not collected from people who are actually your users. So always make sure that you're running this A/B testing at a place where your users are located. We also look at how to apply the results. Now you've run the test, how do you get these results and use them more effectively to improve your your ad campaign and performance. That's all from my side. It's been a very long week. Thank you very much for your participation. I appreciate every minute you've committed to build your own businesses. I'm happy to take questions if you have any questions.
Yeah, so my question would be, I'm assuming you're going to tell us now, like the possible next steps.
Oh, the next steps. All right. So this is not the end of our engagement. And my understanding is that there's a mentorship sessions that you will have with your mentors. Those are individual sessions for, I think it's an hour, 60, it's not 45 minutes or 60 minutes. Those sessions are designed to take all these learning that you've learned here today and apply them on your individual businesses. So I think it will be in a group of 2 or 3 entrepreneurs per session, per mentor. I think they're weekly, once or twice a week, I can't remember, but they are limited numbers. So I will encourage you guys to use those sessions, because that's where really the meaty stuff that we discuss and engage with today are put into practice, where you will then be asked to go perform certain things and come back with the results. We analyze those results, get feedback, guidelines, and we make reference to some of these tools. And it's more sort of personalized approach in a professional way, which I think it will benefit your business very well. One of the graduates of this program did mentorship, and today she's sitting at about 420,000 Rand revenue she's generating from the very same assets she had with she just repositioned her business much better using Google tools and running the best possible marketing campaigns, knowing how to monetize the data, moving from 22,000 Rand a month to 400,000 plus a month. I think it's significant of the importance of these mentorship sessions as well. So yeah, there's going to be mentorship sessions organized, and I think they will communicate the availability with you guys. So yeah, that's all. Is there any question around? Is that answer your question about what's next? Shazia, do you have any comments around that?
No comments. I'd like to thank everyone for joining our session and for participating. I hope that it was a valuable session. Thank you, Mashudu, for also taking us through the content and for all of your explanations and guidance during the session.
Great.
Please, everyone, fill in the feedback form. Please scan and fill in the feedback form that's displayed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation, and all the best in your business endeavors. Bye-bye.